Welcome, this is our Thursday, March 17, 2016 edition of the Government News Brief. In the news, tomorrow is local government elections after a 19-year absence and you need to go out and vote. Measures being looked at to reduce time prisoners spend on remand and more mining lands for sustainable and environmentally friendly livelihood at Port Kaituma. I am your host Azim Khan. Stay tuned as we bring you the details of these and other stories. Thank you for staying with us. This is the Government News Brief. Tomorrow, March 18, 2016, is local government elections in Guyana. Finally, after awaiting some 19 years, persons are being allowed to elect representatives to run the affairs of their communities. Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu is urging all eligible persons to go out and vote.
I want you to go out and vote. Exercise your franchise. This is your day. You work for this. You long for this. You hope for this. You dreamt for this. Local government elections is here. It's here to stay. This is called people's power. So vote wisely. Put the people you trust in office.
Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu. These elections are extremely important. It is your democratic constitutional right to vote. Most of the town and neighborhood democratic councils which were elected at the last local government elections in 1994 have been replaced by government-appointed interim management committees, and several are currently dysfunctional. After almost 2 decades, Guyanese will have the opportunity to elect new councillors to the 6 old municipalities, the 4 new ones, and the 65 neighborhood democratic councils. There may be a light at the end of the tunnel for prisoners waiting their cases to be called in court as the executive meets the judiciary. More in this report. A meeting yesterday of representatives of the judiciary and members of the executive looked at possible ways to reduce the backlog of cases in the courts. This is one of the main concerns of prisoners at the Camp Street prisons, as it contributes significantly to the current overcrowding.
It was a wide-ranging discussion, all aimed at this point in time at trying to get trials speedily and to clear the congestion in the prison. So from the point of view at this time, I just want to say that it was a very successful meeting. The government team, as you know, included the Vice President, Camarade Ramjatan, the Attorney General, Minister of State Joseph Harmon, and we are very pleased that this meeting has shown a resolve to deal with some of the issues confronting our prison system and the justice system.
That was Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu reporting on the meeting. Weeks after the Camp Street prison unrest, the administration continues to ensure that measures are put in place to avoid a recurrence. Chancellor of the Judiciary, Karl Singh, assured that the judiciary will be doing its part.
And what we did was to identify measures by which the judiciary's work, particularly at the magisterial level, can impact in a way that brings about some relief to particularly the problem of overcrowding in the prisons. So we're going to flesh out those plans over the next fortnight or so before we put them into a meaningful operation.
Clearing of the backlog in court cases has been an issue plaguing the judicial system for many years. Guyana is to establish a diplomatic mission in Switzerland. Here is why.
Vice President and Minister of Foreign Affairs Carl Greenidge says a mission in Switzerland will help aid trade negotiations.
Guyana has been the spokesman. I was, for example, the spokesman for the Caribbean in relation to the last meeting on the Doha Round, which took place in Nairobi. But whilst the heart of the discussion in preparation for Nairobi took place in Geneva at the WTO, we had no officer there. So the office had to be traveling from Georgetown and from Brussels to undertake that work.
This move was the subject of lengthy deliberations because Switzerland is a very expensive place to live, and Geneva and Bern are among the most costly of cities. Nevertheless, the Swiss government has offered and Guyana has accepted to come to an arrangement where that country will defray some of the costs of the mission in Geneva or in Bern.
If you have a coordinator's role, you have actually to be in sight. And so our capacity to lead and to lead effectively was surely constrained by the absence of those skills in Geneva. So we can be more effective on the trade front, representing ourselves and, where appropriate, representing other groups, whether it's ACP or CARIFORUM or CARICOM, whatever, if we have an office there.
Switzerland has maintained diplomatic relations with Guyana since 1977. It has been particularly involved in debt relief in this country and signed a bilateral investment protection agreement in 2005 at Guyana's instigation. In 2015, Swiss ambassador to Guyana, Ambassador Sabine Ullmann-Schaban, was accredited.
Engineers from the Ministry of Public Infrastructure continue to assess the state of the infrastructure in and around Georgetown communities, making the necessary interventions. Residents of communities which have roads that are in a deplorable state are asked to contact the Ministry's Special Project Unit on telephone number 225-7420. Engineers will visit, make an assessment, and follow up with the necessary intervention. Finance Minister Winston Jordan is defending the government's spending on the country's 50th independence anniversary celebrations in May.
Minister Jordan says that the $300 million budgeted for the celebration will have a multiplying effect, in that it will help to generate more money for local businesses. The government was criticized for allocating the sum of money to the celebrations that is expected to see many tourists visiting Guyana and overseas-based Guyanese returning home.
The multiplier effect for $300 million, I don't know what it is, but even at 0.2, that's an extra $60 million. The multiplier effect means that I pay somebody a salary, then somebody uses a salary to go and pay something, and you keep going on. And then part of it gone into Palm Court or something, Then this $300 million may bring another $300 million from overseas. And of course, we know it's going to be far more, because I learned to have new flights put on and so on.
The finance minister also described the sum as peanuts when compared to what other countries are spending on such events.
Look at our decrepit tongue, much less country. It's going to take you money. And $300 million is 1.5 million US. Peanuts. Peanuts for a 50th anniversary celebration. You ask how much Barbados is spending? I don't know why we are so small-minded and petty. 300 million, 1.5 million US on a 50th, historic 50th anniversary.
Of the $300 million Ghana dollars, $194 million will be spent on events and activities that celebrate the rich Guyanese culture, $8 million on youth activities, $4.2 million on sports, $6 million on commemorative activities, $26.1 million on public relations and media, and $6.2 million for contingency planning. Paul McAdam for his Junior News Brief.
More mining lands will be opened in Port Kaituma to enable sustainable livelihoods. More in this report.
As new mining lands are being opened, residents of Port Kaituma in Region 1 are urged to engage in sustainable mining practices. This plea came from Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman when he visited the community earlier this week.
We are opening new land to give you, knowing that when you mine, you will, of course, earn. There's going to be commerce, trade, and things are going to be stimulated. All we ask is that you mine, that you have respect for the environment, respect for each other, respect for the laws of Guyana, and respect, of course, yourselves and where you live.
Trotman noted that within a matter of weeks, his ministry will be engaging the residents on the new available mining lands. The minister has also committed to lowering some of the royalties owed in the areas of mining and logging to give persons a fresh start.
During the 2 years, we haven't got no kind of things to sell or what. The word I'm talking about. We have a lot of problems. So we haven't come up with the money to pay for our tax at the end of the year. So right now, we are getting a very hard time.
We're going to be waiving penalties to give you a second start. Okay? So what I'll do is collect your name, make sure that I get it done. But we're giving miners and loggers a fresh start. We're going to be waiving not all the fees, but some of the penalties and fees that are owed, so that you can get a chance to start over your life.
Minister Trotman was accompanied by Minister within the Ministry, Simona Blooms, and Minister within the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, Valerie Garrido-Lowe. Port Kaituma is located within the Matakai sub-district of Region 1 and has a population of over 5,000. The main economic activities are mining, small-scale logging, and farming. Port Kaituma is surrounded by the communities of Canal Bank, Oronok, Citrus Grove, Pittsburgh, Estate, and 4 Miles. For the Government News Brief, Beverly Alert.
Complaints by farmers on the intrusion of salt water onto the rice lands in Westbury and Dartmouth Essequibo Coast Region 2 are currently being addressed. Here is more in this story.
Javon Parman Singh, engineer with the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority, NDIA, of Region 2, says that over a month ago the sluice at Westbury had some problems and it was not able to function at 100%. Speaking with the Government Information Agency, the engineer said when there is heavy wave action from the Atlantic Ocean, the salty ocean water would seep in. Parman Singh also said that the buildup of salt water in the rice lands could be a result of the El Niño situation, which had led to a shortage of fresh water in the area. This had resulted in farmers pumping water from the drains onto their rice lands. According to Parman Singh, saline water which was pumped into the fields could have affected the crops. He said some farmers were stopped from pumping the water because when it was tested, the salt contents were very high. The Essequibo region is currently being affected by a heavy siltation, which is affecting the sluices. This had led to the operation of several pumps in the area to help reduce the effects of the problem. For this Government News Brief, Shivani Rampersad reporting.
GINA has commenced a series of pictorial exhibitions focusing on Guyana's independence era. The exhibitions are held at various locations under the theme, "A Look Back at the Birth of a Nation." The exhibition is informative and educational and is ideal for school-aged children. If you are interested in having GINA's exhibition at your school or event, please contact us on telephone numbers 226-6715 or 225-4255. We are also seeking your assistance as we compile a documentary on Guyana's independence. To this end, we are asking those persons who were present at the event on May 26, 1966, or any other independence activity, to come forward and share your experience. You can give us a call on 225-3119. We would like to encourage you to go out tomorrow and vote in the local government elections. Your participation in this process is critical to the development of your community, improvement of your life, and further advancement of Guyana. This has been another edition of the Government News Brief. You can find the Government News Brief along with all other GINA programs on our website. Please subscribe to our website and YouTube channel and like us on Facebook so you can be informed as the news unfolds. Do join us again tomorrow for another edition of the Government News Brief. Thank you for watching.